Now, another significant difference is the type of loans, because the Ginnie Mae securitizations can only include loans that were issued under some government mortgage loan program. I'll just say government loan program. And in fact, it's listed a couple of pages forward, all the different loan programs. There you go. So as it notes at the bottom there, the vast majority are from FHA, Federal Housing Administration, and VA Veterans Administration. Although there is also the Rural Housing Service. They used to be the Rural Development Association, so their name has changed a few times. And there's the Public and Indian Housing, Office of Public and Indian Housing. But those last two typically account for less than 1% of the mortgages originated under these government programs. So I'll primarily talk about FHA and maybe even VA a little bit, but there are a few others. But those are the only sorts of loans that could be securitized in a Ginnie Mae securitization. Now, such loans can be in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac securitizations. In fact, in the aftermath of the financial crisis, because so many private lenders had some uncertainty about participation in the market, FHA loan programs actually accounted for a majority of mortgage originations in some quarters. So these sorts of loans can be in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac securitizations, but historically at least, the vast majority of loans in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac securitizations were conventional mortgages. And all a conventional mortgage means is a mortgage loan originated outside of one of those government programs. That's the only meaning of conventional. Now, a couple of other things about the agencies before we move on. Note that there's guarantees mentioned under both Ginnie Mae and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and both the provider of the guarantee and the nature of the guarantee is a little bit different in both cases. So Ginnie Mae securitizations are guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. In fact, in case I forget to talk about it later, you've got multiple layers of guarantee, because it's guaranteed at the loan level by FHA, then it's guaranteed at the securitization level by Ginnie Mae, backed up by the federal government. So there's a lot of safety there. And aside from those sorts of guarantees, that's the provider of the guarantee, the nature of the guarantee, at least as it's written, is they guarantee timely payment of interest and principal. Now that would seem real straightforward, but nothing's straightforward when things are subject to legal interpretation. What does that generally mean in terms of how it works out in the context of these securitizations? It doesn't have to happen, but in the vast majority of cases, the securitizer, which by the way isn't Ginnie Mae, we'll talk about that later, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do their own securitizations. Ginnie Mae securitizations are done by a Ginnie Mae sponsor. That's some private corporation that's actually overseeing the securitization. But in the Ginnie Mae securitizations, what usually happens is the servicers have the right to buy back the defaulted loan from the mortgage pool. And that's what tends to happen in the vast majority of cases. So in most of the time when you see a default in a Ginnie Mae securitization, that's just like a housing sale. It results in an acceleration of the return of principal to the investor. On the other hand, in the case of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they self-guarantee. So there's no federal government guarantee. Fannie Mae guarantees Fannie Mae securitizations. Freddie Mac guarantees Freddie Mac securitizations. And aside from the difference in who provides the guarantee is the nature of the guarantee. Now, what does it say? Well, the guarantee says they guarantee timely payment of interest and only ultimate repayment of principal. Now, again, you might think that sounds real straightforward. What does it actually mean? It means that if there's ever a delinquency by a mortgagor whose loan has been securitized for a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac securitization, the agency will advance the scheduled monthly payment. So that's what they interpret as timely payment of interest. They actually interpret it as the monthly payment that's due will be made on a month-by-month basis by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Now note that doesn't mean that payment's forgiven. Now there's a payable building up at the agency for the monies they've advanced on behalf of the delinquent borrower. And the ultimate repayment of principal means they don't have to return your principal to you until they go through foreclosure. And actually, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were so flush with cash up until like 2004 or something, they were behaving like Ginnie Mae. Whenever there was a default on a loan in the pool, they'd simply buy the loan back from the pool. But I can remember, without great fanfare, I'm reading through the Wall Street Journal, like on the 6th page of the 2nd section, little paragraph at the bottom of the page, Freddie Mac was announcing, we're no longer going to do that. We're going to start only living up to our guarantee of making sure the monthly payments are made on time, and we won't promise to return your principal until we go through foreclosure. But they were so flush with cash from the late 80s to the early noughties, they were behaving like Ginnie Mae was. They'd actually buy the defaulted loans back from the pool. But that was, I guess, an early warning of their worsening finances, that they were backing away from their more generous approach to dealing with those sorts of cash flow issues.